Now, if you guys have been watching any of my videos, you have seen that I haven't been too happy with the way Phillip is conducting herself when it comes to this Graham Platner situation. And in this clip, we're going to see Carrie Champion shut down not just the Republican on the panel, but Phillip as well. Because when it comes to this Graham Platner situation, the double standard and the hypocrisy for MAGA is absolutely astounding. As usual, let's watch the clip in full. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts towards the end.
Welcome back. Purity or party. In the Trump era, it seems that Democrats and perhaps their voters are starting to loosen their expectations of candidates. Case in point, Graham Platner, the Democratic Senate candidate in Maine. A beard, tattoos, military service, a populist message. But as Platner faces scandal after scandal about his past, and polls show that he has a good shot to beat a Republican, Democrats can't quite figure out what to do with him. Many still support him. Others are staying on the sidelines. Some, like John Fetterman, call him a creep, and others just mumble through their answers about whether they'll still support him. Scott Galloway says it's time to stop the purity tests.
Every election is a choice, not a marriage proposal. We're not hiring a priest. We're hiring a senator. Do you want to make sure that women's rights aren't continue to be rolled back? Do you want a more responsible economic policy? Do you want different approaches to labor that raise the wages of nurses and students? Do you want something regarding fiscal sanity? Do you want to have a check against the unfettered, unprecedented corruption? But we're going to talk about tattoos and sexting? I mean, the obsession with personal purity has become a luxury belief. And folks, if your house is on fire, you don't ask whether the firefighter has problematic DMs.
No, because the fire department has already asked if he's got problematic DMs. In other words, no, I'm serious. There was a vetting process to qualify that person to be the firefighter.
I just want to say, just in fairness to Scott Galloway there, he made those comments before the New York Times story this week, alleging much more serious things, including not just that he was a toxic boyfriend, but that he was emotionally abusive to at least one woman, and maybe in some cases physical with her.
Yeah, she felt physical aggression.
But that kind of raises this question of, like, how much is enough, right?
But Abby,
are we just going to go down the rabbit hole?
Well, no, the bar is in hell with this current administration. The bar is in hell. We have allowed this president to come in and this blatant corruption, and we see it. Not we as in you, but the people have. His loyalists have, the people who are supposed to be a part of his cabinet have. And so the bar is now in hell. And so for Democrats to me, now and by the way, I am not excusing this man's behavior in any form or fashion. But what Scott is saying is like, listen, look where we are. No one's perfect. Fetterman said this, to your point, said this earlier today. What he was trying, and I'm paraphrasing, was like, all politicians have baggage. This just happens to be a candidate that has baggage.
Carrie, he's got an anti-Semitic tattoo on his chest. That should be automatic disqualification.
I'm not excusing this man's behavior, but what I am telling you is you cannot say that with this president in office.
No, you can't.
You cannot say that.
You can.
You cannot say that.
A guy who's wearing a tattoo saying, I hate people of this religion.
Okay, and I hate black people. I feel like this president is saying, I hate black people, and we're done. Oh, no, but he just has all the power of the government. He's rolling back. He's rolling back civil rights.
Wait, Carrie. I mean,
I'm not excusing this man's behavior, but I'm saying this is why people are okay with that.
You keep saying you're not excusing him, but what's happening is that he is being excused. The issue, I think, also that what this week demonstrates, this week kind of started with, oh, he was sending text messages, you know, into his, frankly, brand new marriage, by the way, to other women.
Wholly inappropriate.
So that's not great.
Wholly inappropriate.
Not great, maybe not a great thing. But then there is always this drip, drip, drip. You know, earlier this week, he had a meeting with Democrats where they asked him, was there anything else? He said there wasn't any. Elizabeth Warren attended the meeting. She said there's a big difference between marital issues and allegations of sexual assault. The people said Platner agreed and denied any credible allegations of assault were forthcoming. It's not a secret. I've had a messy, complicated life. He told them the worst of the rumors we've all heard are not true. 2 days later, the New York Times comes out with
that article about everything.
Yeah, about everything. So it's like one of the problems is that, you excuse this and this. Oh, and then
but Abby,
trust me, there's going to be more. And Democrats are experiencing
Are we
that
excusing
right now.
it? Or are we saying, look, if this guy is in the lead, are we excusing it? No, we're not. But if the people in Maine are saying this is our guy, this is who we want, it's because of the situation we live in right now.
Is there anything that Graham Platner could do that would make him unacceptable?
Yes,
that would be an automatic.
Yes, and I think
we need all hands on deck. Let's have a Joe Biden. Let's push him off the ballot.
Yes, I think, and maybe some things have already been exposed that are unacceptable. I think the thing is people don't know how to answer that question anymore because there's always a follow-up question. We just don't live in that world anymore, and I don't like that we don't. But is there anything Donald Trump can do to make him unacceptable?
No.
Yes, but he's still the president.
Yes.
So like, what am I supposed to do with that? If people really think that not having a check on Donald Trump would like winning the Senate. This Maine Senate seat has been something that Democrats have had their eye on for a very long time. Oh, yes. And it is very vulnerable. It is more vulnerable than even the Texas Senate seat. And if they are looking at, this is straight politics. I'm not saying it's moral. I'm not saying it is clear. It is just literally a power play.
Let me ask you this question.
That's it. That's all that's happening.
Everyone at this table, I believe you have been really in the halls of power, right? Yes. You were there. What does it say about the Democratic Party of Maine that this is the best that they got?
That is a fair question. I actually think that's a fair question for Democrats and Republicans.
I couldn't agree with you more.
And I think that is actually what I'm saying is that. But it is hard to ask questions in isolation right now.
You can't.
Because then when I turn the page the next day, I see something that is happening and I feel is so antagonizing to me and the rest of Americans. I'm like, something has got to give. Again,
and that's
I think
it right there.
The
you can't ask questions in isolation.
I think the reports are very troubling to me. I really do.
They are.
And I think there are a lot of people that are in power right now.
Rob,
you
know Lindsay.
I do.
Phillip, who's
I worked with
ex-girlfriend who is named in the story. So you have a different perspective, and I just want to note that she had put out a social media post where she basically called Graham Platner a liar. She said that he is out there just lying after lie after lie, and I'm also seeing a lot of people personally attacking her just because she's worked in Republican politics.
Yeah, I think that's deeply unfair. First of all, Lindsay didn't talk about this when we worked together. She didn't even share it with her friends. In fact, some of her friends have come out, even in posts this week, saying that they wish they had pressed her on this relationship back then. I understand how traumatic it must have been for her to withhold speaking about this, but she felt a deep responsibility to share that now. And I think it's unfortunate that there are people attacking her simply because of her past. I think she said even that she's married to a Democrat. So I mean, her politics.
Yeah, she said that a lot of her family and her husband are liberals.
That's right. That's right. But I think that the interesting thing about the whole situation, Abby, is that in some ways Chuck Schumer tried to go around and make sure that this was not going to be the situation. He got behind Janet Mills, the governor of Maine, early on because I think he saw some of the problems that maybe Graham Platner would have presented to the Democrats.
That was a flawed approach too.
Well, maybe it was.
And I think that is what Arthur is actually getting to, is that I don't have anything against Janet Mills, but Janet Mills, I think, is 78 years old, is the governor. Can we turn the page and actually have a youthful generation that could represent the state of Maine?
Sure.
And I think that is the point. The lead of the Democratic Party goes and finds somebody that would be more establishment, and the alternative is Graham Platner. Is there anything in between?
I don't think it's that hard to find people that don't have Nazi tattoos. I'm sorry, it's not actually that hard. Yeah. And I think there are a lot of amazing, decent people in this country who don't have these problems. And yes, we need to make it easier for them to want to get into public service. But I don't know. I mean, I don't think that the moral of this story is that this is as good as
right. I agree with you.
It's not. So anyway, we'll see what happens in May. Next for us, President.
So I'm going to be real with you guys, man. I'm going to be real and level with you guys. Abby Phillip, the past few days, is really ticking me off. She's really ticking me off. And the reason why she's ticking me off is because it's almost like she doesn't have any awareness of the time and the moment that it is that we are in. Listen, I'm not an American. I am not an American. The main Senate race will not affect me in any way, shape or form. But I have seen the repercussions of a Donald Trump presidency. I have seen the ripple effects of that, even as far as my country, right here in the United Kingdom. I have seen the effects. And the problem is this, exactly like Carrie Champion said in the beginning, the bar is on the floor when it comes to politics right now. We're having it right here in the United Kingdom with Nigel Farage and reform. The bar is so low. And the problem on the left is consistently this. They want to continuously go high when MAGA and Republicans go low. Now, am I a fan of the fact that Graham Platner has a tattoo that is a Nazi tattoo on his chest? No. Do I know whether or not he knew it was a Nazi tattoo? No, I do not. And I am not a fan of it. I'm not. But the reality is this. Republicans are going to continue to lower the bar when it comes to politics in the United States. And if Democrats continuously repeat the same thing over and over and over again and continuously try and take the moral high ground, guess what? They're going to continue to lose. Because we have a president, and no, I say we, even though he's not my president, but usually the president of the United States is the most powerful man in the entire world. The United States has a president, an individual who is in power, that he does not care about absolutely anything. And I just think it's interesting for me that the Nazi tattoo, if that's what it is, and if he knew that, is where Republicans choose to draw the line. But when Donald Trump was putting up videos depicting the Obamas as monkeys, these guys had every single defense for it whatsoever. This is the frustration for me. When everybody knew that what Donald Trump was doing was racist, you did not find a Republican that was out there trying to throw Donald Trump under the bus. You didn't find that. You didn't see it. But when you have Graham Platner in Maine, who says, number one, he didn't know that it was a Nazi tattoo, and who is denied wrongdoing, you've got people like Phillip, who is simply just making it easier to attack people on the left, because all MAGA are going to do is utilize clips like this to turn around and say, well, look, even one of your most prominent TV hosts is saying XYZ. Listen, I am not saying to you guys that I believe it's okay for the things that it is that Graham Platner has done. I'm not saying that. But you have to have awareness for the times that it is that we are in. Growing up, there was a saying that I always used to hear. I don't think it's the one from... No, it's not the one from Spider-Man. There's a saying I always used to hear. And the saying is this: desperate times call for desperate measures. If the Democrats have the opportunity to take over the Senate, and Maine is going to be a key factor to that, and the people of Maine are literally saying Graham Platner is their guy, and that's an opportunity to get rid of Susan Collins, then hey ho, desperate times call for desperate measures. And I'm sorry, we cannot continue to go high when MAGA and Republicans continue to go low, almost to the point that the bar is buried underground. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. See you guys in the next one.